I've been reading your comments and I hear every single one of you. You don't care about the arena, or at least most of you don't, and the overworld is the reason you joined Illuvium. Now, I know the overworld has some fundamental problems related to the way the game is played and how boring it can be as you search for your next Atlas, which feels less like finding a Charizard or a Charmeleon and more like finding an annoying Rattata in the same bush on Route 1 every damn time you play. Now, I won't discuss all the ways to overhaul the entire game, since the MMO Lite strives to accomplish that feat, but rather 4 quick updates I believe can be achieved in a small time frame to make the overworld go from unbearably slow to playable and even fun. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is overworld combat. I think they need to add this in before they even get to the MMO Lite. Now, many could argue that this could diminish the impact of the relaunch with the MMO Lite and things like that, but I think you can keep it simple and then add way more complex systems when it comes to the future overhaul. For example, you're allowed to send out one alluvial to fight beside you and it automatically attacks the nearest enemy. You also find more alluvials in each run where there's a little bit more on the map, or at least they feel like they're closer together, and you fight them out on the open. Maybe you're using your weapon, maybe you're just using your gun, or maybe a sword or something like that, and your alluvials attacking them as well, and it would have moderate difficulty against rare opponents. For example, if you find like an Mephisto, that's going to have a lot of HP, it's going to be tough to take down, and it's going to do a lot of damage to you, and if it takes you out, you're going to have to go back to spawn, maybe you lose some energy. We need some engagement there where you're not just playing a casual sim, okay? There needs to be some danger involved in the game, okay? And so the other thing is, if you're fighting an alluvial for too long of a period of time, then it would attract other alluvials to come and combat you. Now, maybe you find alluvials in herds, kind of like in that first trailer we saw with the Caradulox and the Caradulo and stuff like that, or maybe you're fighting up against the Monarch and all of a sudden some aces spawn in, or some atlases spawn in, or something else comes and fights you, and maybe they're ethereal alluvials, and so you can't actually capture them, so you don't break the economy that way. But at the same time, it would just make it so much more exciting if you knew that you couldn't just play it too safe against this thing. Then stuff's going to start spawning in, and then you're going to get absolutely destroyed, absolutely wrecked by all these alluvials that are about to jump on you, and you don't even stand a chance. And now, after that, we get to the overworld multiplayer. That would go hand in hand with that feature and just make the game so much more exciting, especially if you have randomized overworld lobbies as well. Say there are 32 player lobbies, and you just jump into a world and you see all these other rangers running around. Maybe one of them is fighting a Titanor and you go, shit, they're getting destroyed, I'm gonna go help them, and maybe I can snipe their Titanor. Okay, let's not go that far. Let's not have people sniping the alluvials of others. But at the same time, I definitely think being able to help out your friends and maybe jump in there with 3 or 4 friends, and then you guys can share loot in different ways, and by loot I mean alluvials, then I think that would be a really fun and exciting way to play the game. Like, not only that, but you can also add this other aspect, especially in Sanctum Mesa, where you can fight against other players in the overworld just for fun. People talking about going up to someone and being like, I want to battle you in Ascendant. I want to play you in the auto battle. It's just me and you, 1v1. Let's put all our cards on the table and see who comes out on top. But what I care about more is battling people in the overworld with your alluvial. So I say 1v1, let's do it. And then I send out my Axodon, they send out a Ramfire, they're fighting, I'm trying to shoot the other player, I'm trying to shoot the Ramfire, I'm mixing up between them. It's almost like a 1v1, but it's a 2v2 because we've got our alluvials with us. Then maybe my Axodon gets taken down and I throw out a Fisto instead, and a Fisto starts dealing damage to the enemy ranger while I'm taking out the Ramfire, and it's all about like trying to get the damage weaknesses and things like that. It's like, it is a bit like a Pokemon battle, but way more exciting as everything's happening right there out in the open. I think that would be such a great component to add into the Illuvium Overworld. The other thing I want to talk about is actually item number 3 is the overworld capture flow, okay? Currently, this is the single worst part of the Illuvium Overworld. You go into the world, you explore, maybe you get some items and crafting ingredients and things that you need. That's all pretty chill, it's not even that bad. And then you go and hunt an alluvial. It takes you way too long to shoot at it and hunt it. I know that's a part of the difficulty idea of the game, but that's not true difficulty. That's just grind. That's not actually all that fun, really, especially since the map doesn't change and alluvials aren't trying to stop you and things, and the morphopods barely do anything. Anyways, it takes way too long to hunt an alluvial, and then after you do that, you enter the auto battle. Now, the strategy and thinking behind this, because you need to defeat it with a certain amount of energy left and stuff to be able to capture an alluvial, this is all really, really great, actually. It just takes way too long, and so I don't think it's appropriate for the Illuvium Overworld. And so instead of doing this whole auto battle thing, you just fight the alluvial in the overworld, or even if you hunt them to a certain degree, you try not to get them below 1 HP, up to 0 or whatever. You try not to knock them out, because then you can't capture them. And then you shoot like a little shock dart or something that pins to them and traps them in the spot, kind of like the same animation you see in the auto battle. And then your drone flies up to them, tries to capture them in the shard you had selected. 1, 2, 3, are they going to be caught on it? No, they break out. You got to keep going over and over again. Way quicker, way more exciting. And then when you capture them, maybe it pops up with their stats and things. You should be able to see the stats beforehand, but if you can't, it like pops up with the stats and stuff. You're like, cool, I got a really rare alluvial. That is so exciting. Whereas in the auto battler, it takes so damn long to do. It takes you like half an hour to capture 7 or 8 alluvials. Even then, the shard system is kind of broken in itself, where the shards barely work on what they should. And it just feels really, really savage. It doesn't feel all that rewarding. But I think that's more because you don't have the ability to improve your chances. Whereas in Pokemon, like a Pokeball is not going to catch a legendary Pokemon, right? Basically ever. Even an Ultra Ball is going to catch it like 1% of the time, whatever it might be. But if you get that legendary Pokemon down to 1 or 2 HP, you manage to paralyze it or sleep it, your chances go astronomically up. Now, they're not perfect, but they go up so much higher. We don't really have that opportunity in Illuvium. Now, we have it to a certain extent where you can get the energy threshold high enough that maybe you have 3 shots at capturing it. But 3 shots at capturing it is not the same as higher odds to capture it, or like a general chance to capture it all, because you can't really go above 3 shots. You can't go to 5 or 6 chances. You just really can't build a team strong enough to actually achieve that. And so the level of freedom you actually have isn't there. It's a bit more like an illusion than anything actually practical in the game. And this needs to be fixed to fix a lot of the excitement and strategy behind capturing alluvials yourself. The other thing is it needs to be crafting shards would need to be streamlined with a lot of this, because currently you could say it's too expensive, but really it's a little bit too tedious to get so many shards that you need to get. Now, I don't mind the idea of shooting the rocks and getting on them and stuff like that. Maybe they don't appear frequently enough, but really right now you only need so many shards in the game. But if you would just throw in shards at every alluvial every time you see them and stuff, you need way more of them in your inventory, especially if it's infinite. If you can throw 100 common shards at an alluvial, you need to be able to acquire those 100 common shards without it being an absolute crazy chore. So that all needs to be improved. So number 4 is one of the harder things to implement on the fly here, where we need overworld progression. Now, this can be simple at first, obviously, where you've got things like crafting levels, where you're crafting different types of resources and you get different levels and skills and experience. And this would also change the efficiency of things like crafting shards. Maybe where your level goes up to a point where you have a little skill tree or something, and then you get a double chance to craft 2 shards or something like that. We don't really have that in drone augments right now, but I would say scrap all the drone augment stuff and just do this crafting experience and crafting level type thing. You can also have it through capturing alluvials. Maybe after you capture 100 alluvials, your capturing level goes to level 2, and you get different buffs and improvements for that. Soul binding progression systems to the player's account disincentivizes botting in a lot of ways, but also promotes playing every day. Maybe daily quests improve this experience over time and things like that. It just incentivizes coming back to playing the game over and over again, because you want to slowly level up your character, which is something we simply don't have right now. Someone could come in right now, they don't need to play even 10 seconds of the game to not only get every alluvial, get any crafting items they need, and so on and so forth. We need something that's bound to the account. Right now we have absolutely nothing. The other thing is you're going to have alluvial trainer levels. The amount of alluvial battles you're in or how many alluvials you take down might level that up, and maybe you can click a little skill point to make water alluvials more powerful on your team when you're using them in battle. So simply levels up as you do more of a thing, and these crafting levels would be so much fun to have in the game. This might take a little bit more work, but I definitely think there's simple ideas you can put in here as well. You can just keep it simple at first, and you don't even need to upgrade it. You can just leave it as a simple system that keeps some people coming back for more until all the MMO Lite stuff gets integrated. Not only that, but it allows you to test a lot of these systems for the MMO Lite. Maybe people really like a specific aspect of it, and you can carry that through. Now, in the end, capturing alluvials in the Illuvium Overworld is simply too slow. And with these changes I'm proposing, it would feel way more exciting when you capture something new and go to see what sort of stats it has. I think that would be an exciting gameplay loop, and I really hope that they add these features into the game. Now, please don't, I hope you learned something today, and please don't forget to add my referral code on the Illuvidex in the profile settings, and check out this video on all the updates coming to Illuvium in 2025.